again. Coach, what do you think of Sufism and how would you personally define God? Do great fighters need a belief in God? That's from Terrence Strong. Well, listen, Sufism, I have a very soft spot for Sufism. I think Sufism is great. If you look at all the classic Muslims, they were all Sufis, all of them. But Sufism, I think, means something very different today. Okay, so if you look at the classic Muslims, they all referred to Islam, the true Islam, as Sufism. Now, if you look at a Sufist, the Sufi Muslims are all peace and love and very, laid back, and fighting is the last resort. And what's Sufism about? It's exactly what we were talking about earlier. Now, if you guys want to go on this chain, because Terrence spent $20 on this question. So, Terrence, I'm going to give you a prolonged answer, a good answer. I think that you guys are going to like. There are very few statements in philosophy we agree on unanimously. Even 1 + 1 = 2, guys. I know, don't fall out of your chair right now, okay? I believe 1 + 1 = 2. You believe it. 99% of us believe it. There's always a philosopher out there who's even going to argue against that. Don't ask me how. Basically, they're going to say that this 1 + 1 = 2 is just happening in your head. It has no truth value whatsoever. Let's not even get into that. But I'm just saying, look how far philosophers go. Philosophers are so critical. They're so skeptical. It's crazy. But there is a group of people out there that are even more skeptical than philosophers. Who are these people that are even more skeptical than philosophers? I'll tell you who. The mystics. Mystics are more skeptical than philosophers. The first mystic in the history of Western civilization during the Enlightenment period was René Descartes. He came so close. He came so close to mysticism. He just missed by a hair. He just missed. Now listen, any statement I give you, there's always somebody who's going to come and cross-examine you and find a little speck of doubt. Okay, if you ever read Descartes' Meditations, that's what he does. He doubts mathematics, he doubts science, he doubts everything. He says, look, let me play devil's advocate. Let me pretend there's a demon out there with the power of a deity, and he's always trying to confuse me. Every time I do an experiment, he's trying to blotch my experiment. He's saying I got to have a fundamental belief that's so strong, even a demon couldn't possess me to believe something to be untrue. And Descartes gets really close with what is known to be the cogito. I think, therefore I am. He came really, really close, but he didn't hit mysticism. Came really close. Who hit mysticism? Well, the first mystics were the Muslim thinkers. Like it or not, it was them. The first mystics in history, recorded mystics, the ones we know of. Maybe it was Parmenides and the Greeks. If not, if you don't agree Parmenides was a mystic, because the problem with Parmenides is we don't have his exact writings. Okay, we only have his works, his dialogues in Plato. And with Plato, it's not 100% mysticism. Here's one of the greatest mystic sayings in the history of mysticism. And let's see if you can wrap your mind around this. Avicenna said, there is existence. Can anybody out there find any doubt in that statement? There is existence. Any way you look at it, if you're in the Matrix, if you're having a dream, if there's a demon out there trying to confuse you, like Descartes tried to, very entertainingly, he writes about it in his book of meditation. I highly recommend it. It's a great book. Even if there was this demon or whatnot or whatever craziness you want to come up with, anything, like I'm even if I was under the influence of the strongest drug in history, you still can confuse me about this statement. There is existence. Now, this is just the opening door. Avicenna said, look, I have this one thing I could be 100% sure about. I'll never doubt this one thing. What is this one thing? There is existence. This outdone what Descartes said. Descartes said something many years later, 600 years later. He says, I think, therefore I am. You couldn't confuse me about that, because even if you gave me a false thought, that false thought would prove that I exist, because to have thoughts, I have to exist. That is the essence of the cogito. So he thought that was super solid, just as solid as what Avicenna said. But he was wrong. Okay, Nietzsche later corrects him. You can't say I think. I think is a presupposition. You can't presuppose anything in philosophy. We'll knock you down. We'll break your building down. We'll find whatever you presuppose and we'll knock it down. You can't presuppose anything when you say there is existence. Now, back to what I was saying earlier. Is that known deductively? Do you know that by logic or reason? No, you do not. Do you know it by some kind of scientific experiment? No, you do not. You only know it intuitively, innately. So it seems that our journey to knowledge, our start, is an innate knowledge, not a rational one. So there is something higher than reason. There is something that precedes reason. Precedes reason. Now, Avicenna gave a great thought experiment, but I think it's just too much for this podcast. It's just way too much. It will just confuse people and enrage people, actually. But he proved this point beautifully, that there is existence. And from there, he launched his philosophy in many different directions. But this was an unshakable truth. The fact that you first are an innate being. You know things innately. Why did he bring this about? Because he just basically proved to us that all of the universe happening around us is first happening in this point of awareness. Okay, so there is existence. That reduces human beings, listen carefully here, not to bodies, not to flesh and bone, but to a point of awareness. And even you have to take away point, that point. Forget point. You have no proof of point. That's a presupposition. That's something you've adorned this experience with. There's only this awareness, this oneness, this infinity that didn't start or begin or it'll never have an end, etc. Everything else is encompassed in this awareness. This is something called, if you want to look it up for those of you who are more interested, it's called the egocentric predicament. And from there, there's a whole host of beliefs, arguments, experiences a human being can have. But this is the foundation of mysticism. They went so far, they doubted so much that, once you get to anywhere near their level of doubt, most people have dropped off. They won't get that doubtful. They won't be that critical. But these thinkers were the most critical. They wanted something not 99% certain, 100% certain. And that led them to a spiritual type of belief, not to an empirical or materialistic one. Again, I'm putting it in very short terms. I'm giving you guys a brief history of mysticism, very brief. And that's my answer to you, my friend. Does that make you a good fighter? No, it doesn't make you a good fighter. It's of intrinsic value, my friend. It's not of extrinsic value. Extrinsic value is, does it put money in my bank account? Does it put gas in my car? Does it put food in my belly? Does it put a roof over my head? Those are extrinsic things. Mysticism has nothing to do with extrinsic. You don't become a mystic because you want to make money. You don't become, but some do. Some will give they'll see people dying and they'll see people sick and they'll put on this, hey, I'm this holy man type guy, and they'll rub them blind. Some do, some don't. But when you go on this type of quest for knowing, it's because you have a thirst for truth. You have a thirst for what is real. You're curious. You're genuinely curious. If you want money, if you want to be a good fighter, well, you got to train hard. If you want to put a roof over your head, you got to work. You got to find, start a business. Now, look, do I believe in predestination? Yes. Does that entail God chose all things? Yes. I do believe in determinism. I'm a hard determinist. That's a talk for another day. I'm a hard determinist. That's the philosophy I adopt to. I believe in the qadar, the determinist. Yes, that's determined by God. So ultimately speaking, all things are determined by God. But nobody goes on a journey to know the truth. Okay, if you're going to go that far, it's because you are curious. And you can expect a pot of gold at the end, a spiritual pot of gold. Yes. An intense happiness. Yes. A brand new Lamborghini. No, I wouldn't, that's not the